But yeah, the Jets had their first preseason game on Friday night, and we got another one coming up on this Friday night. And so we got to see some of our young players. We got to see Mr. Bailey and Mr. Klubnik and Mr. Jackson and Mr. all these misters, Mr. Cooper. And so it was nice to see some of these young players getting their feet wet, see how teams are treating them, see who looks the part and who does not look the part. Deuteronomy comes in, Mr. New Paltz Rugby, and he says Club looked all right for his first action. Yeah, Club looked fine. Looked like all the rest of these rookie quarterbacks around the league. Seems like some of these kids coming in now, they can at least handle the preseason, so that's good to know. James Thompson is here. He says, good morning, everyone. So Club looked all right. I think personally that the story of the first preseason game has got to be the cornerback, Alabamba. Alabamba, Maury Labamba. Man, if we found a cornerback, and he looked great, but if we found a rosterable cornerback, then that is really something. That is really something, because that's a hell of a value. Now, we got to see more from Mr. Bamba. But if La Bamba is La Bueno, well, then you got something, because that's a very valuable position. And what it really would do, in my estimation, is if he's able to be a rosterable player, backup, probably not going to start, but not right away. So, like, if he can be rosterable, then what that allows you to do is trade Brandon Stevens, really. Because at some point, we really got to think long and hard about trading Brandon Stevens for some draft capital. That is one guy that may have some value around the league. We know the Cowboys like him. That really isn't in our future plans. And so if we can get some draft capital for Mr. Stevens, that would be quite nice. And so that could be a trade at the end of camp, or it could be a trade right at the deadline. But that's the sort of thing that you'd be much more comfortable doing if you have a player like La Bamba on the roster. Of course, in that scenario, you're probably starting Nashawn Wright and Azareye'h Thomas on the outside. Hopefully, Pons comes back this week. Next week, we get a look at him, and hopefully he looks good in the slot. But either way, or any way you slice it, I mean, Brandon Stevens is not, part of our future plans. So, but having the kind of cornerback depth that you feel comfortable with makes a trade more likely, in my opinion. So that would be something that would be a win-win. We really don't love Brandon Stevens anyway. He does have value around the league, and if we have ready replacements, well, even if we would have to pay his salary to facilitate the trade, if we have ready replacements that we think maybe even better than Brandon Stevens, well, that's a win. And then to get draft capital back on top of that, while we have replacements in-house, if we feel comfortable with all these people, that is phenomenal. And so, that's something to really watch. Let's watch La Bamba this week, see how he does. And then, let's keep an eye on him. Maybe he really is impressive. Now, this is a kid who has some very intriguing traits. First of all, he's 6'2". Second of all, he runs a 4.2. That is really something. And what he showed you on Friday night was he has the good stop-start ability. And, he's got good, basically lateral quickness. But, these cornerbacks, they got to stop and start a lot. That's kind of what they do. And he showed that. And he showed some, it wasn't perfect, but showed some ability to get back into a play once he, if he misses his strike at the line of scrimmage. So he showed you some good stuff. So let's keep an eye on Mr. Maury Labamba. Maybe that could be some kind of a development that would really, really help us. Nadir is here. Deuteronomy says something about Will McDonald. Seeing Will McDonald get a sack because of the attention Bailey demands looks like something to look forward to. Yes. And of course, that's also the concept with Mr. T. Vondre Sweat. We got some news yesterday, and that is that T. Vondre Sweat will be coming off the whatever list he was on, and he's going to be activated and go back to practice. Now, he's probably not going to play on Friday night, of course, but we're going to ramp him up. But the idea with T. Vondre Sweat on the inside is similar to what Deuteronomy is saying here on the outside. T. Vondre Sweat, his job basically is to absorb double teams. And if you watch him on tape, the teams double him all the time. It kind of makes you wonder, is Jeffrey Simmons going to take maybe a step or a half step backwards because he doesn't have this guy next to him that just has to be, you have to double T. Vondre. You cannot not double him. So, and I'm sure that led to a lot of sacks for Mr. Simmons. But the idea being, that's what you want. Guys who command double teams, because then you have other guys. You can't double everybody. So if you have people who can win their one-on-ones, a lot of them, then you got to choose who you want to double, and then that's good for everyone, and hopefully everybody can feast. If you notice on that play, Harrison Phillips was also in there. Yeah, everybody was it was against their backups, so let's be careful. But nonetheless, that's the idea. Hopefully Bailey commands double teams. Hopefully Mr. T. Vondre commands some double teams in the middle. And the other people who are then one-on-one got to win their one-on-ones, and that's winning football. So that was good to see.